In this video, I want to talk about the short-term versus long-term investing approach when it comes to real estate investing. So some things to think about on the short-term side, like the fix and flip strategy where you buy a property, you renovate it, and you sell it pretty quickly, and you make some short-term gains rather fast. So short-term, you're going to make big chunks of money when you do the fix and flip strategy. You can literally buy a property, fix it up, and resell it probably within a 3 to 6 month period. So in 6 months, you're walking away with your money and you've already cashed out and made your profit. And it can be a big chunk of money. When fixing and flipping, you could usually make $50, $60, $100,000 if you're finding good deals. So it's a good way to make fast cash. But one of the things you need to consider with this quick method is how it's taxed. When you sell on a short-term basis, you have to pay short-term capital gains taxes. Now, this is typically your tax rate that you pay on your personal income. So if your typical tax bracket based on your job income is 25%, for example, then you're going to pay 25% on these short-term gains that you just made flipping real estate. Another thing to consider is it's short-term in nature, so you're going to make money quickly, but then that's it. You have to keep flipping houses over and over and over to keep making money. You do one deal and you stop and that's it. You don't get paid. So you have to get out there and you have to keep finding that next deal, finding that next deal, finding that next deal in order to keep getting paid over and over and over again. So again, the benefit here is that you can earn money quicker, you can get in and out of a deal quicker to access cash. So it's a good way to build up your cash reserves faster by getting these big chunks of money quickly. And you can also earn a better annualized return by doing fix and flips. But some of the risks are that you're gonna pay higher income taxes on your gains, and you might get stuck in a situation where, since it's short-term thinking, if the market would shift, you could get stuck where you have to end up holding on to the property longer and paying out more in costs. And if the market changes on you where prices go down, it could cut into your profits severely. Whereas when you hold long term, you don't necessarily care what home prices are doing, since over the long term, they're probably gonna go up. So you don't have those short-term risks of worrying about what the housing market's gonna do while you're in the process of trying to get this house flipped. All right, so long-term investing, I like this method a little bit better because it accesses the 4 wealth building strategies. So number 1, you're gonna make your money like you would on a flip. So you're gonna buy in at a low price, and then someday you're gonna sell for more than what you bought for. So it's like flipping. You're still gonna get out and make a profit, but it's just a longer term hold. So you're not gonna get that profit as quickly. But because it's longer term, you have the potential for the property to continue going up and up and up in value over the years that you hold it. So you have the potential to actually make more on the sale side when you hold for several years than if you hold short term. So for example, I bought a property for $75,000 in 2020, and I could have flipped it right away for $150,000. Now I put 25 into it, so I was all in it for $100,000. So if I flipped it at $150,000, I could have potentially made $50,000. And then after closing costs and everything, I might have walked away with $40,000. And then after short-term capital gains taxes, I might have walked away with $30,000. So I could have made a quick 30 grand by flipping this house back in 2020. Instead, I chose the long-term approach. I held the property for 3 years, and over those 3 years, I was able to watch the appreciation on the property value go from $150,000 to now a market value of $190,000. So again, I was in this property for about 100 grand. I was able to sell it 3 years later for $190,000. So now I'm able to gross $90,000 of profit as opposed to $50,000 by just holding it over the long term. Now I also got the benefit of having the long-term capital gains tax rate. So because I held the investment for more than 12 months, I now get to pay the long-term capital gains tax rate, which is about 15%, as opposed to my short-term tax rate, which would have been much higher, like 25 or 30%. So again, I'm saving on taxes by not having to pay as high of a capital gains tax rate. I also got the benefit long-term of making income from the property over 3 years. So every month I was collecting rental income month after month after month. So this was paying me back for the money I invested into the property. So by the time I actually sold the property, my loan balance had gone down and I'd already made back a good chunk of the money I had put into the property for repairs. So now most of that sale price at $190,000 was almost purely profit that I got to just take home to my bank account after I paid back the remaining balance on my mortgage. And fourthly, overall holding longer term, I ended up actually making a much higher return. Now on an annual basis, my annual return wasn't as high as it would have been to quickly flip it, but my overall return on investment, in terms of the fact that I only had to put down about $25,000 to $30,000 of my own money, and ended up making rental income, plus I made appreciation, plus I had all these tax savings from all the tax write-offs, the depreciation expenses, and saving on capital gains. So when you factor in all of this money and factors together, I ended up actually making a very large return on investment that would have beat out what I would have made flipping. So that's kind of how you can look at short-term versus long-term. They both have their benefits. Longer term is a little bit more passive. You get to sit back and just collect passive income every month, where short-term you have the stress of once you sell, you have no more income. You have to go out and find that next deal. So with long-term, you get to still capture flipping the property someday and making a profit on it. But in the meantime, while you hold it, you also get to collect rental income, take advantage of all the tax incentives, and you get that passive income that you can use, again, to kind of supplement your job income and live off that income if you'd like, so that you're not having to stress about if you lost your job, for example. You still could sit back and rely on your rental income from your rental properties to help support you financially. So both strategies can be great for building your wealth. It's more personal preference if you want to get in and out of deals quicker, make big chunks of money quicker, or if you have the patience to go for the long-term route, hold properties long term, wait for them to go up in value, live off the income from those properties, as the rental income provides you income that you can use to pay off your mortgage or cover travel or cover eating out with family and friends. So there's lots of benefits to both, but I prefer longer term, as you get access to the 4 wealth builders. Again, appreciation, equity buildup, you get income on an annual basis, and you get the tax write-offs. So think about this when you're deciding your investment strategy and which one you'd prefer to choose.